Ladies and gentlemen, Omoyele Sowore remanded in Kuje prison. Bail revoked, a bench warrant executed, and Omoyele Sowore is officially starting the week behind bars at the Kuje Correctional Center. Justice Mohammed Umar of the Abuja Federal High Court issued the sudden remand order today following Sowore's absence at a previous sitting for his ongoing trial regarding alleged cybercrime and defamation against the president. Though his new legal team, led by Adeyinka Olumide Fusika SAN, fought fiercely and explained that the absence was strictly for deep legal consultations, the judge dismissed applications for this recusal and ordered Sowore held until the formal hearing on Wednesday, June 24th. Sharp Edge News, I have a question for you. But before we get into the question, I have a small video here that I want to play that's going to help us make sense of all of this, maybe a little bit more than what we're seeing in the news. All right, check this out.
I used the smart buying tools.
Let's see real quick. Here we go. Let's see the almost there. Okay, here we go. All right, so you could hear shoot. I don't know what they're shooting, but the question I have is, this is an incredible escalation. A former president candidate and top activist is sleeping in a prison cell over a single missing court appearance. Is this a strict application of judicial procedure under the Administration of Criminal Justice Act, or is the state using legal technicalities to systematically silence its loudest opposition voices as the 2027 engine warms up? Ladies and gentlemen, we're getting ready for the analysis right now. We'll be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, High Chief Oladimeji Abitogun. Let's have your analysis, sir. Hopefully you got some more information from that. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Welcome back, sir.
Thank you. It's good to be back with you. And best wishes to our viewers all over the world. Now, it could be, from the posers from you, could this be strict legal enforcement? Is it by way of ensuring that court rules are obeyed? It could be.
Yes.
It also could be. But what is more obvious, the
or is this just them weaponizing the system as usual?
That's the second leg of the poser that I think from the optics and the messaging, it will look like is a systematic weaponization of judiciary to come down hard. Whichever way, it's almost obvious to every Nigerian that the government may not have really performed above average or above the expectation of the average Nigerian and competent observers concerning good governance. And so, since the government is also playing the card of entitlement because of incumbency, that automatically it should be back in office for another term of 4 years. Yes, it would want to throw away every pretense, basking in the euphoria of so-called off-season elections, victory coming all the way, or in most places, for the ruling party. They want to do what they are doing. And if anybody had ever been in doubt as to the fairness, if the system is, really accommodating to every shade of, opinion and interest in the country. The ruling that came last week from the Court of Appeal, bearing down so hard on the Justice Peter ruling, where he almost, decreed into into oblivion 5 political parties, including some of the strongest opposition parties in the country, will be instructive. And the opinion of that appellate court, the three-man panel of the court, describing it as a judicial rascality, and really coming down hard on the out-of-hand practices of the judge that gave that ruling, restoring or putting in place a stay of execution order against the attempt at registering 5 political parties. That will show you something. So whatever could not be achieved through that kind of arrangement, since everybody now knows that there are questionable characters on the Nigerian bench, that is the judiciary, whatever is coming the way of Omoyele Sowore now wouldn't be a surprise. And it's almost coming from the conclusions drawn by this Justice Mohammed, if I get the name right. What, in spite of the very strong arguments that were advanced by Sowore's lawyers, that this man did what he did. And look at the way the court had even played the entire matter. When they said they were going to sit, Sowore was in court. The court did not sit. When he was not there, they sat. Look at that level of inconsistency. Look at that situation of unpredictability. A judiciary must be predictable. It must be programmed such that you can say they are going to sit and they would sit. It is a different ball game entirely in Nigeria. And having personally put the system to test myself, it's so difficult to expect that you will always get a justice through such a system. So, is it about putting in place a matter and then you find adjournments that never end, never predicting when that matter would ever be concluded? So, Sowore is now their hostage, and it's been their hostage for a very long time. In spite of what everybody thinks cannot happen, he leads a relatively small political party, political movement, but when it comes to showing up at every opportunity on the street through his voice, you can count on Sowore that is always there. So that makes him a present existential threat to the administration in Nigeria. what do oppressors fear most? Education, conscientization. Sowore is able to demonstrate in an ample way that is up to the task when it comes to nudging Nigerians, when it comes to waking Nigerians up to their rights and obligations to the state, and holding power accountable in Nigeria and speaking truth to power. So such inconvenient truth, when you look at the nature of freedom struggles, whether when our brothers and sisters were in chains and locked by way of slavery in the United States here, or South Africa, or the decolonization struggle all over Africa, there's one thing any oppressor would be scared of is education. In fact, it was a crime at the time, especially after the Nat Turner uprising in Virginia in the sometime in the 1800s, maybe 1830 something or wherever or whenever in the history of America, antebellum America, the word that that gained traction through the judicial system in Nigeria recently. Antebellum was actually used to refer to the period before the American Civil War, which essentially was fought on the right of property. And what property? Human property. Black people to be held down as slaves. So after the Nat Turner uprising in the United States and the brutal suppression of that, it was criminalized first in the state of Virginia that any slave seen to be pursuing education or being educated, to be seen with that, just because Nat Turner was able to read the Bible and he was hearing voices and did whatever he had to do to throw away the yoke of slavery, it was criminalized. Same thing, that same kind of threat is what the government is smelling, is sensing in everything Sowore does. Whatever he does, whatever action he takes to make sure that Nigerians, the average Nigerian, is alive to his or her responsibilities, will be brutally suppressed. And I think, like you asked, this order that it should be remanded at Kuje, they don't like calling it prisons anymore in Nigeria, at a Kuje Correctional Facility in Abuja.
Correctional Center.
Yes, that ruling, that statement coming from the court is just meant to keep him out of circulation. That is my belief. And it's going to be systematic. It's going to be something that will be methodical on the part of the state in Nigeria now. Oh, they will say it's not the government that is doing it. It's a pronouncement from the bench. But from what everybody knows already, the whole system is rigged. You go to the legislature, it is playing the tune dictated by the person who pays the piper. You go to the judiciary, it is the same thing you get. If our people would dare you to go to court, because they know that system would never ever give you the justice you want. But at some point, there is that danger that something may snap within that system. And look at that drama within the hallowed chambers of the court today. The youths around Sowore were daring the officials of DSS or SSS, whatever the name they call it, confusion galore in Nigeria. No clarity as to what proper name to call any government agency. Anyway, look at the way those youths, those activists, the way they were daring the officials of DSS to shoot at them. I mean, what else would you want? It's always a prelude, the gathering storm for maybe something nobody was thinking could happen in Nigeria. When you see youth coming out, daring and facing and not minding the consequence of being shot at, and they are demanding real action. God knows where that it's a warning signal for the administration that you can't take liberty for license. You can't take people for a ride. You can't take them for granted. You think they will never snap at any time? Heck, everywhere people have ever been suppressed or oppressed, they always snap. You think you can hold them down with the power of the gun or the jackboot? They will tell you they too are human beings.
Right.
So this is what I suspect here. On the balance, this is like, okay, what the court expects of you, we must put you where you belong. Number two, systematic weaponization of the bench, the judiciary, to whoop people into line. And God forbids that Nigeria will collapse to a one-party state. And the next topic you are bringing up on the Ekiti election will afford us a more better opportunity of diving deeper on the subject of possibility of Nigeria collapsing into a one-party system. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Do me a favor, hit the like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications so you're notified when we go live. Let's move on to some other trending topics around the world, and I will be right back. Let's check out this video and then we'll review it.
APC for life, APC for life. 15 pa, 1 vote. 15 pa, say they win me. APC for what? For life.
You see, a friend of mine told me something about 6 months ago, and this is evidence of what he told me. He said, "Very dark man, you keep pitying these poor people, but the poor people don't even pity themselves. Every time you say, oh, you want to do things for the poor, but these poor people, do you think they pity themselves?" And the perfect example he used was this type of situation. He said, make it make sense. That's
all right. Very dark man has started to flag videos around the internet, so we're not going to play too much of his clip. But what we're looking at is a 15,000 naira Ekiti vote buying video scandal. APC for life. A shocking viral video of a young woman flaunting cash has completely blown the lid off the integrity of the Ekiti landslide victory. While the ruling party continues to celebrate Governor Oyebanji's massive second-term win of over 319,000 votes, this newly surfaced footage has dragged the conversation straight into the mud. They call it the trenches. In the video, the woman proudly displays 15,000 naira in crisp bank notes directly to the camera, gleefully boasting that it was handed to her in exchange for her ballot. Diboko Sebe. Civil society groups and monitors like the CJID are already calling it an affront to democracy, pointing it out that under the Electoral Act 2026, vote trading carries a steep 5 million naira fine or 2 years in prison. Sharp Edge Nation. This grand victory party has suddenly run into a heavy credibility wall. Is this viral video just an isolated case of a reckless voter cloud chasing on the internet, or does it expose a deeply entrenched they call it commoditized system where democracy is simply sold to the highest bidder at the polling booth? Yes, ladies and gentlemen, High Chief Oladimeji Abitogun, let's have your analysis, sir.
Thank you so much, Ola. It's suffrage consumerization, and honestly, it's not something that has just that is. There's nothing new about this. There's nothing novel about it. It's a culture that is endemic with Nigerians. And I think somebody should mark the face of this particular woman who was shouting APC for life just because her conscience could be bought for a pittance. And it's the story that run into everywhere. In Ekiti, what were they exchanging their mandate for? Fresh tomato fruits. Fresh tomato fruits on the street of Ekiti. And so many other places. Even at Edauniyo in Ekiti, a person that we know there said, in spite of the fact that a pastor was recently killed by terrorists there, several worshippers still being held hostage. You don't ever get that in the news just because they must make it look like, oh, everything is okay. It's now Kumbaya in the land of several rolling hills, Ekiti land. So, in spite of Ekiti having the fame of producing top-notch professors and academics, in fact, the motto, that state's preferred motto is fountain of knowledge. It's not showing in the way our people carry themselves these days. The Omoluabi ethos that they are always lashing on. They say you go to Ekiti State, you go to Ondo State, people will not behave in a certain way. It's all balderdash. Everybody is caving under the yoke of poverty today in Nigeria. So for any amount of money, and it's always been there anyway, even in those years that people view with nostalgia. And I will tell you this firsthand because, you know, my father was politically involved. He was politically involved, whether in Omo Yoruba that was inaugurated in 1951 or thereabout at Makbo Hall in Owo, or the emergent political order action group, metamorphosing to Committee of Friends and later Unity Party of Nigeria in 1978-79, up till the time the military put that contrivance to bed on December 31st, 1983. My father was involved, and closely I saw things. I mean, there were times political parties distributed swords and all kinds of stuff, but not on the grand scale that you see today. Initially, people used to sell their conscience for pittance. I mean, these are people that will easily come up to denounce Judas Iscariot in the Bible, but there is always a Judas Iscariot waiting to happen in individual Nigerians. They will denounce Esau as somebody who swapped his birthright with a bowl of porridge. It's so easy to preach all this. You give anybody scriptures, scripturalists would always use it. I mean, they hold one end, they justify themselves, which was why Jesus Christ himself said, you see the log in your neighbor's eye, in the other person's eye, but you see the speck in your neighbor's eye, but how about the log in your own eyes? So easily Nigerians overlook their personal and individual feelings while criticizing what is going on in everybody blames Tinubu for everything. And yes, it deserves to be blamed because it sets the tone. The leadership recruitment deficiency in the Nigerian system allows for people like Tinubu to run the show, but then you see the way that percolates at every level to the least expected person in a community. Now, the media is applauding they said Bao, the governor of Ekiti State, won overwhelmingly with 80-something percent of the votes. They are not questioning the process. If the process is without integrity, credibility, fairness, and what have you, how would you celebrate the victory that is coming from that? This is what I do not understand. Look at in the same Ekiti, in Ilawe, the candidate, a leading candidate of a political party was almost going to be lynched by individuals led by the current spokesperson of the Nigerian Senate, Senator Yemi Adamodu. He was the one that was seen with bag of money. In some places, he was accused of offering each voter up to 20,000 naira. The police and law enforcement people were told. They turned the other. They were looking elsewhere. And you put all this together, you take it to court, you still would not get the justice that should have been served the entire complaint and petition. You won't get that justice because the whole thing is rigged. And people are celebrating victory in Ekiti State today. And even look at, because this thing was planned on a grand scale. The ultimate prize is the presidency in 2027. Already now they are saying, opposition parties are in disarray in Nigeria. They need to organize themselves to counter. What are you going to organize? How do you counter a buffalo, the African buffalo, or the buffalo around us? Let me use the metaphor of the buffalo that we know, the extremely wild buffalo around the reserve or in Akure area. Can anybody stand in the way of such a raging bull? That is what the APC machine is. And you find their media arm. There is this individual, I don't like to, because we are all colleagues in the final analysis. In the final analysis, we are all colleagues. But then we cannot continue to condone people who come with this arrogant pride of being the only people who know it all. The media wing of APC, and we know what they are doing. They are opinionated ideologues, and we saw that in the operations of the musketeers of the Second Republic in Nigeria, or First Republic. People who would be, just because they are articulate and they think they are better educated or they are better trained in this profession than others. That is arrant nonsense. Because you have your own training. That does not put to question my own processes of becoming a journalist as well. And you cannot tell me you know more about Nigeria than I do, even if I do not live there sustainably or consistently like I used to now. I am alive and well, and I'm paying attention to everything going on. And that is the most important thing that must be done in this kind of circumstance. Because the space is not even safe, whether in terms of your living wage or in terms of safety and security. As somebody who practice, so these individuals, they are protected wherever they go. They get a military escort and what have you. So they think they do better investigative journalism than others. That is arrant nonsense and stupidity of the worst imagined stuff. And so they are busy taking it as if, that 300,000 vote plus garnered by the sitting governor of Ekiti State, who has now been returned to office through a questionable process, makes it a done deal that, yes, he has a kind of victory comparable to some people they have named, like, David Umar in Ebonyi State, and this and that elsewhere. Fraudulent comparisons. The deal is, the figures published, they said expected number of voters that would come in Ekiti. 1,020,000 plus. And then they didn't put the current one on what they were projecting. They put that of the one that held the last time, which is 900,000 plus. But even at that, look at the turnout for the election. These are people that have been boasting Ekiti will give President Tinubu 5 million votes. Ekiti will give Tinubu so and so. But in their own local election, we have been told youth did not turn out as they ought to. Old people came out. But what did we see? In some places, you find out that on the ballot booklet that should contain 100 leaves. What do you find there? 80. In some places, some pre-printed, some printed ballot boxes were given to some old women. They said, why did I print this? And they said, you are overreacting. So many other shenanigans, but put it on a larger scale. The fraud that is being paraded as Nigeria's population is being exposed right before everybody's eyes. Every time, yes, they tell you Nigeria is about 200 million people plus. It's all a ruse. Things that are being peddled by politicians so that they can corner resources, not even for the people, but for themselves. And so you find that the figures do not match. At the end of the day, what percentage of people voted in this election? Less than 50% of the people came out. But they are saying it's overwhelming victory. 40,000 plus for Dr. Wole Oluyede, who hailed from Ekiti. And everywhere else, votes were suppressed. So the process, like I told you, is rigged. And the facts are out there. If this is the way you think a nation can be built, unreliable judiciary, election processes without integrity, and you are asking for international investors to come, you won't find any international investors. All you will find would also be, that will be pretending to be investing in the system will be disgraced characters like Shagori and Shagori brothers. Once despised people who destroyed Nigeria, but that have now become so cozy with this administration. And that is what you find running at all levels in this administration. So you ask me, succinctly put, concisely said, I will say the Ekiti election is a disgrace. All the same, they want us to congratulate the governor that has been re-elected.
So you're saying it's still a commoditized system?
It is.
In spite of all the efforts.
It's all rigged. It lacks integrity. What a sorry situation. Sad. Yes. Sad. Yes. So sad. And this is the best. Nigeria pretends to be the best place on the African continent. But you see the shame and the charade. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, do me a favor, hit the like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications so you're notified whenever we go live. We have some other trendy stories around the world, and we'll be right back.
Ruben, when I came here, I brought a few things that are ordinary, personal to me. I lived in England when they introduced American Express card, platinum card. I was living in England when they introduced it. And they said 5,000 people will get it. Those 5,000 people, their card showed charter member. This is my own. Showed their charter member. Member since 1987.
Somebody use it on your behalf.
No, so I lived in England, Ruben.
You
don't need to look at it.
Ruben, I lived in England when American Express introduced black card, and they said 1,000 person will be issued with this card. I have it here, so charter member. To tell you my experience in this card, they told me to go and collect this card somewhere in Sloane Street around Harrods. I got there. When I came out from the station, The man who was in the office where I was going to collect it asked me, "Who are you?" And I introduced myself.
All right. That's Peter Obi flashing luxury American Express cards to defend wealth charter member since 1987. In a highly unusual and viral television moment, the presidential frontrunner of the Nigeria Democratic Congress, NDC, Peter Obi, pulled out luxury plastic on live TV to silence critics, responding to ongoing scrutiny regarding his financial background. During an explosive Arise News interview, Obi displayed his personal 1987 American Express Platinum card and his ultra-exclusive 1999 Centurion Black card. The former Anambra governor reminded viewers that his massive wealth predated his political life, noting he was Fidelity Bank's youngest chairman at age 34 and resigned from 11 corporate boards before taking office in 2006, adding that public service actually left him poorer. Sharp Edge Nation. While his supporters are celebrating this as an ultimate proof of transparent. Shout out to Kenneth Okonkwo, that's another story entirely. Anyway, legitimate trading success. Critics are calling it an elitist display that is out of touch with the millions of Nigerians currently battling extreme poverty. Is flashing exclusive black cards on national television a brilliant masterclass in transparency? Or does it disconnect the candidate from the very grassroots base he needs for his 2027 bid? Ladies and gentlemen, to give us the Sharp Edge analysis, High Chief Oladimeji Abitogun. Let's have it.
Thank you, Ola. The truth of the matter is that many of us will be dying to have, to hone the kind of a success story that Mr. Peter Obi personifies. So if anybody is going to look at this as a huge disconnect or flaunting of elitist lifestyle, that will really be sad. And for me, I've always wanted to see really successful young people on the block, really digging it out and dishing it on the face of the privileged, entitled Nigerian aristocracy, so to say, the Nigerian oligarchy. I like elements like Omoyele Sowore. I like people like Peter Obi, the underdogs, people that you would take for granted, yet deep down there, they have something they can flaunt as their measure of personal success. I'm not talking of ostentatious living now. Peter Obi did not do that out of ostentation. He was doing it to let people know that he is not what they are framing him, what they are characterizing him to be. What else do they want? Anyway, there must be some words of consolation for Mr. Peter Obi and the Omoyele Sowores of this world. And it is in that song, is in that ancient fable by Aesop that was lyricized in Yoruba Juju form by Chief Commander Ebenezer Obey, the one that talks of the man, the son, and the donkey. Baba, Baba Kete Kete and
Someone told the guy to see what to do.
So this is what is instructive in this situation. That fable originally was told by Aesop, almost 500 BC, and then Obey was able to bring it. He was able to drive that message home with a Yoruba consciousness in lyrics and percussion. So this is what Peter Obi must embrace at this point. They would want to rubbish all his genuine achievements, his attainments in life would not matter to somebody that would always be scornful. You know, that's the way of pegon people. Yorubas call them elegon, pegon. That is what they live for, just to despise, to rubbish people's genuine achievements. It could be within a family, it could be in the larger society, and it's even worse when people come to political space. And that is what they are dishing out to him. For example, earlier today, when the British Prime Minister Starmer announced that faced over a period of time until September, he would want to resign from office. And Peter Obi was calling on Tinubu to emulate such a worthy example, having failed at everything, including leadership and setting the tone for financial recovery or economic recovery in Nigeria. The massive failure of the current administration there. The response of the people, instead of weighing that call on its merit, whether it is true or not, is to really go back to the Ekiti discredited election to say, oh, the proof of Tinubu's acceptance to the people is in the way people turned out in Ekiti, and our other off-season elections have been won by the ruling party. I said, excuse me? All reasons like this, if such people were not being afflicted by some generational curse, that, I mean, somebody would see what is true, the genuine struggle of somebody. What I want to take away from Peter Obi's disclosure would be, how did he work that work? And that is why I like biographies and autobiographies. What is the credible path to achieving success? Not in the vanity way that some people would want to embrace a real success. And it doesn't necessarily have to be financial before people record success. You can just have a bowl of gari and still be happier than somebody who wakes up with, you see, skyscraper of currencies in different denominations from across the globe surrounding him or her. You could still be happier. So how do you attain that level, that measure of success and greatness, instead of discarding people's genuine achievements? I think the individual path to attaining success will be what one should be recommending for the average Nigerian. Having failed at this collective attempt at rescuing the system, maybe if each person now begins to embrace his or her destiny, things may be better. But for people who will just sit in one corner and then all they want to focus on is, he's been dangling a platinum card, he's been dangling a express card, he's been doing this, he's been doing that. No. People should look beyond that and understand that you can challenge people as to what they are worth or their true value, and then you don't expect them to respond. And interestingly, the man said he first had that the express card way back in the 80s, and then the other one, the black categorization thing in 1999, long before he became a state governor. We should celebrate people that are genuinely successful. And you see wishy-washy people who never had anything to to boast of in terms of material wealth until they got political appointments or got elected into offices. You can't put them on the same pedestal with people who have always worked hard for whatever they have in life. Not people feeding fat on the wealth of common folks, on what should be the common patrimony of everyone in a country, and then they come around and make it look like, oh, the vast majority of the people are poor just because of one thing or the other. That is not the point of this making here. So people should get it, and if they don't get it, they should just deal with whatever they're dealing with. But I think people should embrace their own narratives about a personal path to redemption, about personal path to success, and what have you. And that ultimately would help in making sure that we evolve a better nation. And that cycle continues like that. Sometimes it may not work out the way we envisage it, but most times embracing personal story, personal journey helps a lot. I hope somebody is benefiting from the events that are unfolding around the Nigerian political gladiators every day. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, please do me a favor. Hit the like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications so you're notified when we go live. We have some other trendy stories around the world. We're going to catch up on some trendy stuff. And yeah, we'll be right back.
Welcome back. The trial of former Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai for alleged phone tapping continued today, with the prosecution witness Deji Adeyanju testifying that the defendant confessed during a television interview to eavesdropping on the National Security Advisor Nuhu Ribadu. During proceedings, the court admitted several documents into evidence, including the subpoena for the witness, a flash drive containing the interview, a certificate of compliance, and an official gazette. Mr. Adeyanju also informed the court that he witnessed Mr. El-Rufai's statement during a television interview, saying they listened to the conversation of the NSA. He further testified that when questioned by the Department of State Services regarding the event, he confirmed Mr. El-Rufai's on-air admission, noting that the former governor's claim that an associate had performed the act and shared the information with him. Under cross-examination, Mr. Adeyanju clarified that he did not hear Mr. El-Rufai explicitly claiming to have personally hacked the NSA phone lines, only that he had listened to his conversations. The defense questioned.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's just among some of the interesting stuff going on. In some other news, there's a lady, Helen Prest, who is fighting first wife of late Dr. Tosin Ajayi. After a judgment rule against her, even though she was with the man for 25 years and had left first wife, but they never sealed their information. That's another news. But I wanted to bring that up to speed, ladies and gentlemen. Now we move into the final segment. The hard news has been covered. We're going to soften up a little bit. Without any further ado, publisher, editor-in-chief, and High Chief Oladimeji Abitogun, welcome back, sir.
Thank you so much, Ola. Good to be back, and very good shout out to our fans all over the world. Continue to like us, subscribe, click, and make this happen.
Follow.
For SharpEdgeNewsTV.com. If you like what we do here, you can just be part of what we do as well. And for people who really don't like us, well, we can't blame you. But if you stick with us, you will get a point, and then you can still be part of the community that we are building. So thank you very much. Now the second story you took there, I will talk about the Adeyanju concerning the story of El-Rufai's prosecution on account of wiretapping the conversation of the National Security Advisor, Mr. Nuhu Ribadu, is...
Sorry, who was wiretapping who? Because I missed that part. Who wiretapped who?
Well, it was Mr. Nasir El-Rufai, the former governor of Kaduna State, that lowered his guard in an interview to say that they were listening to conversations from the Office of the National Security Advisor of Nigeria. And if it was that easy for them, if it was that easy for them to wiretap the NSA's line in the presidency, it becomes a matter of philosophical whatever that. Okay, so if Mr. Nuhu Ribadu could easily be compromised in terms of the operational mode of his office this way, who else is safe in Nigeria? That is, I mean, we can always make that deduction from whatever was said there. But
so the Yadin is in charge of this lawsuit. Is that what's going on?
I don't think so. I think he's been described as prosecution witness there.
Prosecution
witness. It is a witness. Any of us could have come, maybe amicus curiae, friend of the court, or what in some way, yes, not as meddlesome interloper. As concerned Nigerians, I too watched the interview and I was really concerned. But if this is about honest inquiry into the bridging of security in the Nigerian presidency at such a precarious time like this time with a gloomy expectation on who is safe, who can be described as safe, who can be saved within the system, it will be okay. Just that the concern is that could this be targeted at Nasir El-Rufai, who is not, I mean, does not have many fans amongst true Nigerians because of his role in destabilizing the system. Is empty boast about what he could do to shun out a sizable portion of the Nigerian population, the Christians, to make to continue to ensure that there is an hegemonic agenda and advantage for Muslims in Nigeria. So, and it was on that account that the man was not able to scale through the Senate scrutiny to become a serving minister in the administration of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and that became the parting of ways for them. So people hope that this is not about victimization or calumniation of the opposition. If it is about making Nigeria safer, then we are all for it. That concerning Mr. El-Rufai and the Jade in court. Now, to the issue of Ms. Helen Prest, Ajayi, or whatever, do you know that she was Miss Nigeria at the time, right?
She was, yes. She's a winner of multiple pageant shows, I think, in the past.
That's right.
Back as the 80s, 90s, 70s,
and then
70s.
At a point, she was earlier married to...
She was married to somebody else before.
To a Mr. Davis.
Yeah.
And later now married to Dr. Ajayi.
Tosin Ajayi.
Now, somebody is claiming, she cannot be part of the inheritance or whatever legacy. The man left no will, right? So ultimately, this matter may go to equity, and lawyers know how to handle this. But I also know that there is a landmark ruling by the late Mr. Justice Akinla Aguda. Akinla Aguda, apart from being an accomplished jurist and scholar of note concerning law. In fact, he's been referred to as the Lord Dennis of a Nigerian legal system. he knows all about he knew all about what we're describing here, the polygamous structure of African homes. So I think people, the generation of bintos and educated women, and I think it was Wole Soyinka that first said, "Oh, these are the set of intelligentsia that would destroy the fabric of a Nigerian family system," and that is what is playing out in real time. I think people should look around them. In some families, for example, in our own family, Ola, I don't think anybody is going to just overflog the issue of you being the first wife of this and that. My siblings protect everyone in the family. So for the sake of a good heart, I think people should talk less about who is a legitimate child and who is... Every child is legitimate, and nobody should be playing the card of demonizing anyone because of circumstance of birth. No child or no woman or no man can predict the end of...
Sir, let me ask you this question, sir. What would be the responsibility of Dr. Tosin in regards to this before he passed on? Because he was with this lady for
21 years.
21 years. And was separated from his legal wife. That means he went to court and married this other person, right?
So the wife that was not there for the last 21 years of that man's life.
They've been separated for 25 years.
It now wants to pretend to the world that yes, everything must come to her. Isn't that?
Yeah, but in the real world, right? In the real world, if this wasn't about marriage, whatever is legal on paper would have to carry.
But the man left no will. The man did not leave a will.
Yeah, but she was the one that was legally married to him.
What is
that's what I'm asking. What would be his responsibility before he passed on to ensure that this doesn't happen after his life?
The issue here is, was Miss Helen Prest introduced to the family of late Dr. Ajayi as a wife or not?
No, you're correct about that, sir. But you also mentioned something about Wole Soyinka. Was it Wole Soyinka you just mentioned, right?
Yes.
When you mix the Western situation, right, with the way Nigeria used to do things, right? The best thing would have been for Dr. Tosin to go to customary court or officially divorce his wife. Before he passed on, he had 20 plus years to do that. Why didn't he do that?
Allah notwithstanding, if a man and a so-called legally married wife did not live together for even 6 months, no conjugal relationship and all that, and you still call that a marriage?
No, it's not a marriage after 3 months, in my opinion.
I think justice is... Wait, Ola. Justice is what is speaking loud here. The lady, the second woman, also must be protected.
So what's gonna protect her now is my question.
Equity. It's called equity. It's not the normal long drawn litigation. Maybe they go to mediation or arbitration or whatever, but equity. She took care of that man for the last 21 years of his life, and she must be protected as well. It goes beyond having paper and ink. After all, paper and ink put people in slavery, colonize Africa. It does not mean justice. Even, are you listening, Ola?
I'm listening. Want to hear your thoughts, yeah.
So the deal is that the second woman also must be protected. Whoever was given the ruling in the context of marriage papers, forgetting who took care of that man for the last 21 years of his life, that person is not doing justice there.
Let me ask you another question, sir. Yes. What was her responsibility in protecting herself in all those 20 years? Because she's not a baby. What was her own responsibility?
If she pushed too hard too, people will accuse her of being inordinately ambitious, of being a gold digger and all that. You know, it's I pity the place of our women, whether as a person that is legally married or the one that is customarily married. The deal is that what happened there strictly was not a situation of bigamy. Not that the late Dr. Ajayi took two people before to the registry or to the church.
No, but what she was suggesting is that he committed bigamy. That is not
bigamy. Bigamy is quite different from that. People should, frame words properly and should have a proper understanding of the word they are throwing around. Bigamy will be a situation in which, having taken one person to before the registry or to the registry or church or mosque, and then you still perform such solemnization ceremony, another person in the same form. But if you contract the second relationship through cohabitation or customary arrangement, or you introduce them to your family, that is not bigamy. It is simply what it is. You have a second woman. That person is not protected through the paper, the black and white,
the legal. So what is protecting that person is my question. What is
protecting is the law according to Justice Akeola Aguda of blessed memory. Laws of
is that written in the law?
Customs. You said?
Is that written in the law? That if you take a person and introduce them to your family, even though you are again using regular court, right? Registry, yes. You are married to another person. At what point does it cross the line into bigamy? That's my question.
If it becomes bigamy, it crosses that line. If you take the second woman again to a registry without first divorcing the first one that is contracted through registry or the church or the mosque.
Okay, there's a hole here. There's a hole here, and that is what is being. No, not from me. But I'm saying it's been whatever this hole is, it's been explored or exploited, according to you, by the first wife.
Yes, which is quite wrong.
Okay, so you're saying it's wrong. I don't see it that way, but okay, I don't
How
see
do you
that.
See it?
The way I see it is that this gentleman, before he passed on, should have done the rightful need. He should have divorced. He should have divorced his wife. He had more than enough opportunity to divorce his wife.
Nobody knows that. Nobody knows that hour.
Well, what I'm saying is that 20 years is a long time. And then also, the first wife, she could have been nursing this idea that one day, and you might be right in that regards, but this second wife or side chick supposedly also should have.
Please.
Wait now.
Don't call her side chick.
She should have protected herself from being called a side chick, and she failed to do that. That's what I'm trying to say here. Okay, she should have protected, either she's a side chick or not. She should have protected herself from being called a side chick, because right now, after 5 years, the court system is not favoring her.
That is the court system that is talking. Who is in Nigeria? Can you name anyone, any individual that finds him or herself vulnerable that the court favors? They always say it's the last hope of the common man. But
what would be your advice to? What would be, because we run out of time now, we're 3 minutes over time. What would be your advice to Helen Prest or the Helen Prest of this world?
The family of Dr. Ajayi.
No, not the family of Dr. Ajayi. Helen Prest. We'll go to the family of Dr. Ajayi. What would be your advice to Helen Prest of this world right now? They're inside of a marriage, according to you, for last 30 years.
They should do everything to protect themselves. And as a matter of fact, to our men, whatever, if you think you have a woman that you have not divorced as your first wife, and you think could bring the roof down on everything and embarrass and drag your name, do whatever you can do for that second wife before you depart this world. Do everything and make sure everything you do for her is in her name. That is that is an assured form of security for second wives. And I don't really like the idea of them being called a side chicks,
I know you don't. I could tell that you don't. But
because you know the number of my mother in my father's house. If anybody describe my mother as a side chick, then such a person, such an idiot or imbecile will be asking for war. Because
the reality is that our grandfather was not legally in a registry married to the first wife. That's the reality.
Well, whether he was or not, of course, in his time, you also remember the church saying, chase away the remaining wife, you embrace the first one as the one that can come for the only communion with you. But those people, our forebears, our parents, our ancestors were really wise. Elsewhere where that happened in Jebu, remember what happened? A community that was supposed to be predominantly Christian lost out, and today Ijebu is predominantly Muslim because of such ignominious advice coming from Christian preachers who did little or nothing to understand the culture of Africa. You know, monogamy is Eurocentric, it's European, it's not biblical. Polygamy or what have you, I mean, whatever is going to give you satisfaction is what you do, but don't also wreck your home. If monogamy works for you, so be it. If it's polygamy, you are not under any divine condemnation. Just make sure you give peace in your own home. And I'm even saying this. There have been people in the past who alleged that they were for me, or they were my. I mean, that individual said, "Oh, this person is my daughter." I said, "Let's go for DNA." They scrammed. So today, I'm coming clean before my family. The children I have from my wife, first marriage, that is the only children. Those are the children that are legitimate. And you are hearing this, or if I die tomorrow, you Abitogun should know that nobody can come and say I'm the father, because they all have the opportunity of coming for DNA screening. They didn't show up. So
Papa was a Rolling Stone.
I never kept any side chick anywhere. Never kept any side chick anywhere. That is it. I want her to remarry. If they didn't stay, they didn't stay. If they didn't stay, they didn't stay. So
they didn't stay.
But whoever comes in legitimately, nobody will tell me that native law, customs, or if I make any appearance before any law court that I've done any wrong thing. So
all right. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was a good one. Do me a favor, hit the like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications. Actually, we would like to know your thoughts on this Tosin Ajayi estate war, the estate versus Helen Prest. Let's know what your thoughts are, because the social media court has taken over, and on our sister channel, I will probably be covering a little bit of that, the Man of Prestige. So we'll see how that goes. But this is going to be interesting. I wasn't going to cover it before, but now I feel the need to do it. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, hit the like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications so you're notified when we go live. We'll see you the next time. Take care. God bless.